Hey, thanks everyone for listening and watching, sharing with your family and friends, and don't forget to subscribe. Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing is brought to you by Travelopod for destinations like Africa, Japan, Antarctica, India, and the Northern Lights regions. Start your journey with Travelopod. Visit vacation.travelopod.com.
People feel that we don't have time for spirituality. And then I tell them, see, first you have to understand you are a spiritual being. You're not a human being. You're having a human experience.
Did you have to harness that dormant spirituality? Did it come all of a sudden? Was there some clicking aha moment? Or was this a gradual build to these are some of the answers to seeing that magic in myself?
Whatever I'm searching for is just inside me. And when that thing hit me, everything around me changed because, people are searching magic outside like me. The real magic is already within us. We don't create miracles. We simply help people to reconnect with the miracle they already have within themselves. My name is Monica Singhal, founder of Hariom Smiles, a movement where we blend science and spirituality. And this is Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing.
Yeah. My name is Abhay Dandekar, and I share conversations with talented and interesting individuals linked to the global Indian and South Asian community. It's informal and informative, adding insights to our evolving cultural expressions, where each person can proudly say, "Trust me, I know what I'm doing." Welcome, everyone, to this episode of Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing. I've always enjoyed learning more about ways to integrate practices of general improvement into our daily routine and daily events. Sometimes that means pausing to reflect and become more aware of the task you're completing so that you can do it in a more efficient or accurate way. And sometimes that means changing and iterating and flowing as you go along, allowing yourself to be more liberated and comfortable with all of life's variables. In a way, the daily routine of just being and actively living, constantly pausing to take stock of all that we learn and process, and then equally following our instincts to have an accepting and positive relationship with ourselves and with all of those who are around us. At least for me, this is the fabric of a human spiritual existence. Now, for so many of us, this can be elusive or transient and, of course, intertwined with an all too familiar operational interplay of stress and peace. And so to help apply some architecture and guidance for this, I'm so pleased to be joined by Monica Singhal, who is a dedicated spiritual guide, speaker, humanitarian, and the founder of Hariom Smiles, an organization whose mission is to help individuals through personal growth and discovery, compassionate care at the community and health levels, and offer tools to nurture spirituality and inner peace. She has been bridging the gap between spiritual inquiry and tangible societal impact, helping thousands of people find a sense of inner balance in an often very, very chaotic world. It's so wonderful to share a conversation with you, Monica Ji, and thanks for taking some time to chat with me today.
So nice. It's my pleasure. It's actually, I feel, life becomes a little useful when we become useful for somebody else, because otherwise people are just landing on this earth and exiting. So this is a circle which is happening since millions and billions of years. But what are we giving to this world? That is more important to me.
And I like thinking of it as a circle because that means that there is really no beginning and end, and it's one that we need to constantly be very aware of. Many who I've spoken to, many who I interact with, when we think of this idea of a spiritual leader or a guide or a guru, many have this perception of someone who is in that sort of guru position or an enlightened leader position who is constantly spiritually glowing. And at all times of day and night, they are just emanating something positive. And while that certainly is likely the case for so many, I'm just curious for you. We all are cognizant of the daily ebbs and flows that I just mentioned, right? So, how do you begin your own daily practice of spirituality? I know it's morning there right now and evening for me, but, how do you begin your day typically? And what kind of spiritual practices do you integrate into a world that each day has so much noise and so many variables and can sometimes be so cloudy and unknown?
Very nice question. The first thing which I do, Abhiji, is that the moment I wake up, which is quite early, which we call as Brahma Muhurat in spirituality, or the cosmic hour, the creator's hour. So this is around 3 to 3:30 a.m. in the morning. So I wake up at that time, and the first thing I do is, as soon as I open my eyes, I tell myself, "Happy birthday!" That
Mm.
a day to live. And then I'm fully in gratitude to each and everything, like whether it is my bed sheet, whether it is my bed, whether it is a ceiling, whether it is a fan, AC, whatever is being around me. And then I just sit with myself, and then I consciously breathe. You know, the most expensive currency of this world is breath. Once spent, can never be retrieved. So I consciously take few deep breaths, and during that I visualize my day as this is the last day on earth. So what best can I do with this day? You know, when you have little money left in your wallet, so you very consciously spend it. You're
Yeah,
very
you're budgeting.
you're budgeting.
Yeah.
So we are so much conscious in budgeting our belongings, our materialistic assets. But what about this life? Every moment we are spending this life. So when I wake up, and then I have this gratitude feeling for my loved ones in my house, around my house, everything, and those people who are supporting me. So my main mantra of life is gratitude. Be in shukrana, be in gratitude for each and every moment. Not a single breath should go without gratitude. So that's my core. And then when I put my feet on the ground, I generally touch the floor, and I take permission from Mother Earth and thank Mother Earth for holding us all, for giving us this opportunity to be, using everything, because everything belongs to her. We have just come here without anything, we'll exit without anything. So then I'm in gratitude. And then we have this meditation hour called Divya Snan. So I do my daily course of getting ready. I take a bath. And while bathing also, again, gratitude to water. Water has emotions, so it listens to us. So whatever I want from that day, generally while bathing, I keep on reciting that as an affirmation. In Hindi, we call it sankalp also, that whenever you say anything to water, it stores it. And we are also water bottle. So our water inside the body starts mirroring that water. You know, it is like placing an order with the universe, requesting the universe to fulfill. So I keep on praying for the people, for world's peace, for our Mother Earth, for the five elements. And then we start with our 1 hour of meditation, which people join online, and generally get this response from people that whosoever has joined that early morning prayer, which we call as Divya Snan. Snan means bathing. Divya means something which is directly coming from the cosmos, which is very powerful and very enlightened. So we call that also bathing of the soul, Divya Snan, that you bathe your soul. We do it for an hour, and then we start our daily routine. So this is my routine since 12, 14 years, and continuously we've been doing this.
When people think of someone who has founded a movement, right? I mean, I use the word founder of Hari Om Smiles, but maybe take us back to those first few days of your own journey with this, again, in this practice of being grateful, having that meditative existence with Divyasnan and as you go through this routine, but maybe take us back to some of those first morning meditations and home sessions. What motivated you to start in this way? And then for that matter, for it to connect the dots to how it's grown today.
So beautiful, Abhay. This question is, very near to my heart, because till date I cannot believe that I could have, walked in this on this journey, because I was a totally different person before this. Totally extrovert, highly intelligent, highly educated. So, what kind of brain you have that you know everything in this world. So, like others, I was also searching some unanswered questions, like In spite of having everything, like, you see the world around today, the world has achieved technology, gadgets, innovations. We have explored the space also. But somewhere we have forgotten the most important creation, our own life. And this was the case with me, that I was always surrounded or connected with so many people. Yet, so many times I felt lonely. I had all the comfort a person could ask for in the world, yet was missing peace. Then I had so much of information, as I said, that I was an extrovert, educated.
Yeah, very well informed.
Yeah, but very less inner clarity. So there
Mm,
was confusions, judging people and being irrational, or my I call it as temperature. Sometimes my temperature was very high, sometimes it was very low. So there was something which I was searching for, and for that, we keep on running, running. But then a realization changed my life, that whatever I'm searching for is just inside me. And when that thing hit me, everything around me changed. Like in my life, around my because people are searching magic outside like me. The real magic is already within us. And for that, I always tell people, Abhay, when they tell me that you are a magician, I always tell them, we don't create miracles. We simply help people to reconnect with the miracle they already have within themselves. So, Hariom Smiles, I don't call it as an organization. I feel that we all souls are, on a mission.
mm,
And our mission now is to remind people, they themselves are the real wonder of the world.
yeah,
They
yeah.
are the best creation by the God. So, like, what happens is, like in Japanese art, kintsugi, where
Hmm.
broken pieces
Yep.
are not hidden but highlighted with gold. So, I felt that at that time when I started my journey, it was kintsugi happening in my life, that whatever was broken inside me was repainted by meditation, by awareness, by breathing. And it helped me to heal all the cracks, all the pain, all the past, and in fact turned it into the greatest strength. And then there was no looking back. And, I felt that I rediscovered myself, like my inner peace, my emotional strength, physical healing, because I used to feel sick very often, which I used to practically feel that it's okay, weather is changing. So
Right. It's
get some infection,
part of
it's a part
life.
of life. Then there was too much of traveling nausea, too much of
Mm.
backache. So once I started moving on this path, everything vanished from my body.
I wonder also, I mean, are you someone who grew up with a spiritual background? Did some of these things, were they dormant because you had them as a child, but then as adult life sets in and you have this kind of lots of chaos around you and intelligence, but also a lack of clarity, as you mentioned? What did you have to harness that dormant spirituality? Did it come all of a sudden? Was there some clicking aha moment, or was this a gradual build to now think that I really can see that these are some of the answers to seeing that magic in myself?
To tell you the truth, Abe, there was lots of spirituality around me, like my parents, my elders, my ancestors. There was lots of worshipping in my house. But somehow my intelligent brain used to tell me that this is all superstition. So I grew up in that household where
A lot of
everybody
cultural rituals and
was
things.
ritual,
Yeah,
culture was very good. But because I used to see that those, the priest and all, they used to be very soft with people who were rich. Like I was from a very royal family, so they were very soft with us. But whenever any poor person used to come, so they were little strict, and which really tore me apart. I felt very sad that why is this in spirituality? Like you have to, every human being is like, should be, should not be judged and should be treated alike. So
right.
that took me away from spirituality. I started growing up more in science, more of science background, mindset, and, thinking that life is to enjoy and all these things cannot help you. But when I started getting connected, it was like I got reconnected to my roots. And then I understood that there is so much of science hidden. There was a hidden science in those, so I now call it ancient roots and modern proofs. I feel that bridging science and spirituality is need of the hour for the youngsters who want us to validate everything. That why, they have so many whys always hovering in their mind and
Right,
around.
right.
They are they are just running from their life only.
And this is all a pathway for, self-awareness and self-realization and understanding that, whether it's something that's dormant or whether it's a series of awakenings, it's nice to go on this path of kind of rediscovering yourself and understanding a little bit more and kind of having a much, much deeper conversation with yourself that starts with really kind of finding that inner magic. You're someone who I think has a very deep understanding of integrating this spirituality and the kind of inner spiritual journey in a very, very practical way, right? So, like practically approaching your day, practically approaching your life, so that positivity and joy and gratitude and smiles can be sort of a part of navigating all of these day to day items. For most people who are at that first break point that you were experiencing, right? Is there a common barrier that seems to block people from thinking this way or believing that this integration can happen, or even for that matter, just seeing that integration is possible?
Abhay, that's so true, because people are not aware about this. Like, they feel that generally whenever anybody is guiding, so they generally tell them that what is right and what is wrong within. What I tell them is that there is everything right in you. The only thing is that you are a little differently designed. Every human being on this earth has a unique fingerprint. You just have to find your own uniqueness. So I would like to explain this with an example. So there was a boy in Delhi, and young boy around 20 years old. So he was deeply depressed. He felt this unwanted in his family because he was an adopted child, and after his adoption, parents had their own child. Throughout his bringing up, growing up, he had this emotional pain, and it showed up as a brain tumor when he grew up. And doctors said that it is very critical, very difficult to cure, and it's very tricky. And he became so sad that at one point of time he wanted to end his life. One of his friends, whose name was Anant, he brought him to Hariam Smiles and he said that you have planned to end your life. Just before that, give it a little try, what I am telling you. So he brought us to us, and I just asked him few questions that you have since your childhood, you have been blaming your parents. You've been blaming things around you, the situations around you for your pain. The moment you will take the charge, you will understand that this is all karma coming from the past life, which was not easy at that time. A person who finds that everything is wrong in my life is not that easy.
Of course.
But, Abhay, nowadays children don't even close their eyes for 2 minutes or 3 minutes or even for 5 minutes. So I just made him close his eyes. I told him, just check who is having cancer. Is it you or is it this body? So this body is your life partner. This body is a gadget given to you. You are a soul. You're not going to die. Nobody, you are just an energy, a frequency. So there's going to be a shift in the energy and the frequency. You came such a like a small child because you have been blaming you, because you've been cribbing, criticizing this life. That is why this has come up as cancer. Once you start accepting it, once you start being in gratitude that at least you have got this body, at least those parents adopted you, otherwise you would have been in orphanage. Imagine the life you would have lived there. So you are into that complaining zone. Just shift your track to the gratitude zone. Now think, what did you get from them? And when he once he start, thinking about on those terms, he said, "Yeah, I got this." He himself made a list of things, and suddenly I saw a shift in his frequency. And the best part was that within a span of 6 months, the tumor reversed, and his confidence came back. And today he runs his own successful event company, starting from zero, from a single, not from a, he had no support of a single penny, but he had support of his soul because he reconnected with the power within. Generally, everybody on this earth right now, in this era, have everything around as technology, as comfort, but they are in a soup because of their thought process. This generation is suffering maximum diseases, maximum stress, maximum loneliness in spite of everything around them. I feel that once this is the smallest key. I call it a master key, gratitude. The master key, which has solution to each and every problem. In fact, recently, a neuroscientist, I don't know whether you have heard her name or not. It's Dr. Shweta Adatya, one of the very famous scientists.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
She, have you heard about her?
I
Yeah.
have. I've heard, I've seen some of her work with you, actually.
Yeah. So, she did one study, 25 volunteers practiced gratitude for just 21 days, only for 5 minutes, only for 5 minutes. And the results she showed us were remarkable. Their biological age markers showed signs of reversal. So the age reversed and all the ailments left on their own. Like, few of them had stress or depression. So because your body is becoming young, all the instruments, and I call this as a gadget, this body as a gadget. Another name I call it as a soul temple. This is a temple. We must take care of it. It is serving us since from our mother's womb till the tomb. But are we actually acknowledging it? Do we talk to our kidneys? Do we talk to our lungs? So we teach people how to talk to each and every organ. So she did few experiments and she was so happy, and she said this is so wonderful. And she studied our sacred fire, which is called as Havan also. And instantly she saw that in brain gamma waves were produced, which is linked with peak performance, clarity, high awareness. So these are small practices which a person if starts following with belief.
Yeah. And it's interesting, right? Because oftentimes those barriers to getting to that point involve many sort of pointing outward, right? I don't have time. I don't have space. I don't have money. I'm blaming others. I don't want to take responsibility for the consequences and accept things. And I think it's interesting, of course, that most of the barriers that we often cite are typically ones that we are putting up around ourselves. Finding at least some of these amazing tips and tricks towards positivity can go so long, not just for our mental wellness, but our physical wellness, of course, as well. Hi, friends. You may have visited Italy and seen all the highlights, but exploring Europe or Asia for a more immersive vacation is where the details truly matter. That's why so many trust Travelopod for personalized custom experiences. From small group travel to complex planning for any destination, the pros at Travelopod can help make your trip seamless, affordable, and unforgettable. With thousands of 5-star ratings and stress-free booking and support, Travelopod is your trusted partner for unforgettable experiences around the world. Visit vacation.travelopod.com. Your practice is so anchored in using some of these scientific approaches and really based on a very, very, I would say, agnostic to anything but science, right? So that is something that's grounding some of these timeless practices that have such a rich tradition to them as well. Why is it so important that science be the guiding principle for so much of your work?
Because science and spirituality, I feel, are the part of same coin. They have to
Mm,
work together
yeah.
because both of them, have been doing the same work, finding possible from impossible. If we talk about technology also, if 50 years ago somebody would have said that there'll be a phone, which you can keep in your pocket and you can go anywhere, the things which we are using
That
now,
we would be having this conversation like this right
would be
now.
having this
Yeah.
conversation like this. It used to take, in Hindi, they used to call Saat Samundar Par. You have to go
Yeah.
seven overseas, to meet. And
Right.
now we are across in different parts of the world, but talking and interacting and sitting, feeling that we are sitting together. So science has done so many wonders to this world, and spirituality is no different. People feel that we don't have time for spirituality. And then I tell them, see, first you have to understand you are a spiritual being. You're not a human being. You're having a human experience. 98% spiritual, only 2% you are physical. Why are you running? Where are you running? You don't know where to go. I was like that. I was running for degrees, for happiness, doing so much of work. Whenever I was serving anybody, I used to become a beggar from inside, just asking, waiting for that acknowledgement, for that appreciation. And nobody was hurting me. It was my expectation which was hurting me, which we realized once we connected with our soul, that our body is serving us continuously without any expectation. My heart is beating 1 lakh times a day, my breath, my lungs. So then why do we expect? So expectation is making us sick. Whenever we are doing some work, there is our brain is ringing and taking us away. Our focus is shifting, and we generally are not aware of where are we going. So our GPS, the central voice, which is giving us command every moment, and whatever commands comes from our central brain. I call this gadget as a society of 36 trillion cells. So whatever the central voice says, 36 trillion cells keep on doing that. They don't ask whether this is right or wrong. They work as a silent community supporting. So if I'm having sadness in my life, that has also been ordered by me. If I'm
Mm,
having some success in my life, that is also being ordered by me. And there is no permanent success and failure.
yep.
Life
Yep.
is like flow, it has to go on. But we want to hold on to our success. We want to hold on to our possessions, to our things. That is making us tired. So, generally, what we do, Abhiji, is that we are just trying to change the lens from scarcity to survival, from scarcity and survival to a soulful life, a blissful life, a simple life. Today, it is the most difficult thing is to be simple. The simplest thing has
Yeah.
become the most difficult. So that
Yeah.
is where people are, I feel.
And I think the scientific ability to connect those dots behind the neural biology, behind the way that we feel, behind the architecture around some of these ancient traditions and very timeless practices, I think that links it back to a very modern day idea of, like you mentioned, how do we explain this? How do we help people understand that there is some scientific basis to this? I think we do the same thing in medicine sometimes, right? That we are taking the same kind of principles that are not new, but we know more and more about them, and yet we also know so little about some processes. And so linking this and constantly going back and forth is important. You mentioned this idea of gratitude. That's so central to this, right? The Shukrana principle and thought process is a cornerstone, as is seva and giving. And so how does the internal work that we do, right? Seeing the magic in life every second, how does that translate into creating very tangible society based change through humanitarian efforts and giving and seva?
So many people come to me, like we have so many examples where business houses, those corporate world people come and they say, this is not practical, we can't close our eyes, there's so many things on our plate. The moment we wake up, already the to do list is there in front.
Right, right.
How do we get time to meditate? And so I tell them, you can never ever say that there has been loss in your life, because when you landed on this earth, you had not got any single thing with you. You were just empty handed. And even if you have a piece of cloth on your body, you are in profit, because you came there empty handed and you are going to leave like that. So, but we have to understand that there's nothing permanent, because you are the magic, you are the creation by the universe, the most unique creation. As you mentioned, that in spite of being a doctor, so many answers you get from within. I attended this conference of 150 doctors in Delhi. So two doctors shared their experience that once one of them was oncologist surgeon. And when she herself suffered a cancer in her, I think, spine. So there was tumor in her spine. And she said, at that point of time, I felt so helpless because I knew everything about my body. When I'm guiding, those people are dependent upon me. But I knew each and everything about my body. And I used to cure people. But that time, I couldn't help myself. And then I got connected to, because this conference was all about bridging science and spirituality. So those doctors were, sharing their experience. And then she said that I then started talking to my body. And then I asked my spine, what do you want? Where did I go wrong? And she said, I started getting answers while I was sleeping. And then I walked on that path. And when that time I cured myself, I was in so much of gratitude. And she loved Shukrana. When I generally tell people to sing Shukrana like that. Thank you for the eyes I see. Thank you for the ears I hear. Thank you for the lips I, speak. Everything you have to say. So we sing and we say Shukrana and then we clap. There's a tapping happening. So this is a vibration producing, and we are actually creating a coherence, the quantum.
Do you think, by the way, that that ability to be grateful and have that sense of spirituality, does that also translate to now people having this feeling of giving, so that they can actually take that and translate all that also to seva?
Yes, that automatically happens because your molecular pattern starts, you know,
Yeah,
changing.
yeah,
Everybody has a fear. So what I say is that if you fear, fear grows. And if you face fear, fear goes. So when you are into gratitude, fear actually automatically dissolves. There is only one thing which will stay, either fear or gratitude. If there is gratitude, fear cannot stay, complaints cannot stay, past, your future, everything is going to vanish. The moment that happens, you start living in the present, and then you enjoy more in serving rather than, wanting for yourself.
right, right.
So we call in Hindi that if you want, then you are a beggar. But if you give, you are a devta, like a god. तो जो मांगता है वो दाना और जो देता है वो देवता. So gratitude automatically shifts the frequency. See, we all are vibrations. We are not human bodies. And as we watch all these gadgets, like if I want to watch Netflix or if I want to watch Hotstar, or any other program, I just shift the frequency of that gadget. That gadget is not having any program. So same way, we all are also frequencies vibrating. You know, we are all energy bodies, electromagnetic fields vibrating at a particular frequency. The moment we are in gratitude, our frequency shifts from wanting to give more.
When people come to you and they share with you, I mean, I'm imagining a very vulnerable place that people start with, right? That they really are taking great stock of themselves. What does one have to typically unlearn to get rid of that kind of emotional garbage, so to speak? How do you coach people through some of those processes?
Abhiji, everything is like a wave. So whenever a person is in a soup, they barely have the ears to hear.
Mm,
You cannot make them understand. And I generally tell people from morning till evening, every person is just reading positive messages. I ask them this question. Have you ever heard of any retreat or any course where they're teaching you to understand negativity or to learn how to be negative? You don't have to learn.
right. Not many. Yeah.
That's a very normal process because we are on a planet which has a gravitational pull. So anything to come down doesn't need any effort. But when you have to uplift anything, it needs a little effort. We generally give them if I have a lamp, if I have a candle, and there are 5 candles in front of me, which are not they are not lighted. I just have to put my candle, just touch my candle, and they will. I am not giving them anything. It's just I'm touching that light and they will burn on their own. And they have their own sufficient thing to burn, own wax. Same way, when they come to us, that very moment, their energy body starts shifting through the candle, which we have ignited through sadhana, through focus, through helping, through giving. And automatically, there is a transformation. So many people come to my discourse, and it has happened so many times that somebody's holding a stick, but when they go back from the session, they leave the stick there. They don't need it anymore
Mm, yeah.
because we have shifted that electromagnetic field. We have expanded the aura and we have made them self-sufficient, so they don't need it anymore. It is just presence of light or absence of light. So they
Mm,
came in darkness. We just showed them the switch. or we gave them the password to connect to that power, like activated their Wi-Fi.
Yeah. I love that. I like that concept of, sort of like letting go of things and again, activating the Wi-Fi, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's something that people can, I hope, relate to more and more. Your work is so visible through a lot of Hindu practices and, the rituals aside, but, I believe and practice a Hindu philosophy in my thinking, in my actions, in my lifestyle. This concept of Karagre Vasate Lakshmi, Karamadhye Saraswati, Karumule tu Govindam, Prabhate Karadarshanam, Samudra Vasane Devi, Parvatastana Mandale, Vishnupatni Namastubhyam, Padasparsha Kshamaswame. This whole idea of gratitude, no matter whether we recite it in Sanskrit, whether we recite it someplace else,
That's
the idea is important, right? And yet, where does this concept of Hinduism enter this conversation of inner truth and spirituality that generally has so many different paths to take towards that?
See, I feel, Abhiji, all the paths are beautiful. It's just that we have to walk and we have to be persistent. So when we talk about Hinduism, so this was not any religion or a typical way to live. It was only preaching us a lifestyle which may empowered us, you know. Like nowadays, our happiness is dependent upon so many other things like my job, my money, my children, my health.
Right.
So Hinduism was a way of living where you were empowered as a soul that come may what. You know, generally people say, I am sad because of. I went to Iceland, they had some reasons, people are depressed here because of. I went to London, they had that children are having anti-anxiety pills because of. I came to US, they told me that people are, loneliness is becoming like a pandemic because of. And when I went to Canada, there was another because of. So I said, Hinduism is what? It's in spite of. In spite of anything, I know how to handle my emotions, how to, because we say that there is no word as problem in this world. Everything is a situation. How you handle that situation. If you are you have a weak mind, then that situation is going to convert into a problem. But if you have trust, so the Hinduism was trusting in the five elements through which this body is made, respecting those five elements. Like you have to, as you may you sang it so beautifully. I don't know this mantra fully, but this mantra is, I know, so powerful. I could connect to the energies. So when you offer, your salutation to the sun, that because of you we are surviving, because of that water, so we call it water, we call Surya Devta, we called Vayu Devta. So we are, giving respect to all those ingredients through which human being is surviving. This was Hinduism. If you know that the Shanti part, they, uh, they sing after Havan or at many spiritual practices. I call it as sustainability. Now people are talking about sustainability, that global warming and people. I call this as sustainability mantra because in this they used to say, Om Dyo Shanti Antariksha Shanti Prithvi Shanti Rapah Shanti Aushadhayah Shanti Vanaspatayah Shanti Vishve Deva Shanti Brahma Shanti Sarvam Shanti Shanti Reva Shanti Sama Shanti Edhi Om Shanti 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 Om. So the first thing is Om, which means electrons, protons, and neutrons. The vibrations of electron, protons, and neutrons. So sabse pehle to they charged your body with this notation. Now NASA has also found that, sun is taking out this voice of Om. And this doesn't belong to any religion. It's just a voice which is helping the earth, which is giving the fuel to move. Then, when we are reciting this mantra, in this we are asking not for us. We are asking blessings for these five elements, and we are just again and again saying Shanti. They should stay well. They should stay well. They should stay well. So we are not only talking about the external things, but this body is also listening. I call this as a water bottle made up of more than 75% of water. When we are saying Shanti, 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 so all my five parameters are coming in proportion and a self-healing mechanisms gets activated. So Hinduism was a way to live a little grounded, a little disciplined, a little persistent, and being aware of anything outside you and anything inside you.
Yeah, and it's, I think, like I said, there's such a pluralism to how you go to on a certain path, and yet applying some of that structure, applying some of these principles, I think they again provide guidance and community and a way for all of us to, have at least a little bit more functionality in how we're continuing to be on that path of discovery. You are someone who's had a front row seat now to so many different growing movements of caring, and for so many in the community to also interact with many, many diverse groups of people, including those who are very skeptical about these kinds of practices, right? Skeptical of the processes, skeptical of the explanations, and for that matter, even skeptical of spiritual guidance in general. Famously, Vivekananda was a true skeptic at heart, and certainly went through his journey. How do you approach the skeptic, or even the kind of permissive and peaceful person who doesn't just simply doesn't agree with this and doesn't necessarily believe in this concept? How do you approach that person, and maybe what common ground do you typically find with them?
This is a very common thing which happens in every retreat, every session, every, there are few people like this, and I truly respect them and I love them. And I am a big fan of them because they have that gut to stand up in the auditorium and say, I don't believe in this.
Right.
See, you're sounding very nice, you're singing very nice, but this is not practical. And I really respect them. I tell them, you are absolutely right. Don't believe like this. First experience, and it's not compulsory. I always tell them, they give me different names. Whenever anybody does anything for the society and they see lots of results, so people start quoting you with different names. So I generally tell them, I am not a magician. I am just a simple human being like all of you. I am not telling that this is right, you follow this, or this is wrong, you don't follow this. I'm just sharing that I experience this. If you also want to experience this, I can show you the way. But journey is yours. If you say this is not possible, then also you are 100% right, because it won't be possible if you don't have belief, because your 36 trillion cells are not going to work. But if you are seeing millions of people, whenever we go for some holiday also, or we go to a school, or we join some job, we generally take references in our life from our loved ones or from few people, or nowadays people generally check reviews. The first thing, before interacting with anybody, they check the reviews. So I tell them that if you are stuck up in your life, at least go through the reviews of those people who were also like you, because even I was like you. You are at least coming and listening to me. I never used to believe in anybody. So you are like me. I am respecting you. But without tasting, without giving it a thought, without giving a little breath to it, it's your choice again. You want to walk on this path or not. I am not going to be, after you to do that. But at least try this. And what happens is, Abhiji, when people come to these courses or any kind of programs, there is a beautiful energy field created around of positivity. Even if you are having some stinking smell in your clothes, but if you go to a place where there are lots of flowers, there's lots of fragrance, suddenly that bad foul smell will go away because you're surrounded with the. So same thing happens. They come very agitated. Like there was a young guy who was suffering from lungs problems since 5 years. 22 hours in a day he used to cough. So can you just think of that person having belief in me, because he was undergoing that treatment since 5 years, and his mother told him to come to our session in Calcutta. He said, Mom, I have enough of everything in life, and now I'm not going to that stupid lady. He must have called me like a stupid lady, because when
Yeah.
you don't have belief, you are no Guruma, you are no Monica Singhal, you are no Hariom Smiles, you are in
Right.
your soup, in your pain. You don't want to listen, especially you don't want to listen to your mother because you feel she's a fool, running after these emotional people. So, but somehow she got him to the auditorium, and there was a gathering of more than, I think, 4,000 people. And 3 hours, there was a session, and he told his mother, I'm going to come because for you, but I'm going to leave within few minutes. But when the session ended, he came right away on the stage, running, crying, crying, crying. And he said, I don't know what magic happened. I don't believe in you. He directly told on my face, I don't believe in you. But I don't know what happened. Since 3 hours. I have not coughed even a single time, whereas all the doctors, all the medical facility couldn't help me. Since 5 years, I've been just waiting for my death. And every time I was in that fear that next moment, maybe I don't breathe. Maybe I don't, this is my last breath. I don't know what happened. And then he had already attended that session and he had already listened to so many sharings where people were giving testimonials, which we call as Aushadhi. And then he said, Guruma, I want to call you Guruma and I want to follow whatever you are preaching. So I told, see, I am not promising any magic. Magic has to come from within. I am not giving any magic. I'm just telling you. And can you believe Abhiji, he started following us. And within a week, I gave him a particular meditation and I told him few things to follow from his body, with his body, everything which was in house with him only, like gratitude to his lungs. I asked him a simple question. Did you ever say thank you to your lungs? He said, thank you to my lungs. I'm like, oh my God. When even if you're serving to your children, you tell them you must be thankful to your father or so you're always asking for acknowledgement. You never said thank you to your lungs. So now you have to say I love you to your lungs 5 times in the morning, 5 times before lunch, 5 times before sleeping. And after 7 days, he messaged and called us. He took an appointment. And he said, was suffering from piles since 22 years. 22 years. And that has completely vanished in just 7 days. Within a span of about a year, he 100% cured himself. He went to Dubai to Ferrari World after curing his lungs, and he enjoyed all the rides because he took permission from doctor that I've not been living. Actually, I've been dying every moment since 5 years.
Yeah.
And I want to explore my life. He went there, then he called me and he said, Guruma, I want to still, prove to myself that I'm absolutely fine. So I told him, okay, then do skydiving so that you enjoy your life. So a person who was unable to breathe did skydiving within a year. Shows that you have all the mechanism within you. You just have to believe.
And that is that bridge between skepticism and doubt and the idea that something can't be true to at least finding that journey of figuring out what it is that you believe. And then, as you mentioned, like, you're not taking the journey for them. They're actually taking the journey, whether they actually believe in your guidance or they're finding some guidance in themselves. Hopefully, one way or the other, they're discovering it for themselves and marching on that. Let me finish with this. The title of this whole conversation and presentation is called Trust Me, I Know What I'm Doing. So how do you think we ultimately can cultivate more trust in ourselves to empower this spirituality and this enlightenment? As we talked about in the beginning, right? This is a journey that you started on. You're helping people to get on journeys themselves. And yet it starts with trusting yourself and listening to yourself and understanding yourself, preventing loneliness and kind of sharpening that positivity in oneself. So how do you hope that people who are just learning about you can start cultivating that trust in themselves?
Abhay my life itself is a clear example and experience for me because when I started this journey, first of all, I never believed myself. And this happened, this automatically happened, a gift from the universe to me. And when I started on this journey and started guiding people, so many of my friends, my loved ones, my relatives, my people who, felt that they actually are so worried about me used to say that, what are you doing? Why are you always in that helping mode? Nobody is going to give importance. Nobody's going to believe. And so I just told them, see, I don't want to have any guarantee. It's just that my life changed and I want to do my best that if I could change, so many people can also live this life because now I understand what is life. Earlier, I was only existing on earth. Now I'm actually living on earth and I can feel the difference. There's a big difference in my life. Now I'm not scared of anything. Like, even if my death comes in front of me, I'll be happily going with it. I'm prepared for everything. So I told them that my advisors told me that you are investing so much of this expensive time of your life. What are you getting in back? I said, I'm getting blessings, which is the most expensive thing. We not buy them. And then how will it spread? They told me, "Meka, I don't know. Universe brought me on this way. It's going to help." And Abhiji, within a span of 7 to 10 years, now Hariom Smiles is in almost every city in India. Globally, it is in so many countries, and millions of people have already transformed. So, I feel universe becomes your fundraiser, it becomes your supporter, it becomes a part of you when you do anything unconditionally. When you are in that unconditional zone, everything around you, I feel that everything is just supporting me. It's like supporting me so beautifully. Like I met you, so I call you wonder of the world, being a doctor, talking so much about. And the funniest part is, since 3 years, everywhere I'm going, I'm meeting doctors. Like we are now having a one program in Delhi, in which there will be an oncologist surgeon, one neuroscientist, Dr. Shweta Datya, and me. And we'll be making people do fire bathing, cleansing karma through fire bathing, through air element, through sound healing. And this is all about science and spirituality coming together. So we call this the calling of the universe. Now, so as parent know that my children need milk, my now children need money, or they need clothes. Children don't have to tell their parents. Parents already are aware. So universe knows. So it's going to help and magnify, and then there are going to be people, and critics are always important for the growth. So they are the
Mm,
most important part of the growth. So
yeah.
I am very happy when people don't believe in it, because that is the time when we get a challenge and we work harder. We try different modalities. Okay, you don't believe in this, leave this, try this, because we have so many things with us. And the universe gives us more modalities when it feels that we need more, so it sends more, it supplies more. So this is happening. This is not, see, who guided Ganga from that Everest to the sea. It is going on its own. Who's guiding all these birds to, who's telling them, the architect of that making nest. They're
Right.
learning on its own. So,
Yeah.
everything in this world. And one more thing I believe is that when he sends a child to this earth, before its birth, that universe, people can call it with any name, maybe Jesus Christ, maybe Hindu God, maybe Islam God, anything. But I call it as a power, as a cosmic power. It supplies the milk of the child in mother's breast. It doesn't send the child even without milk. So it has its plan. Then why are we worried? We have to be comfortable, and we have to make promise ourselves that we have to celebrate each and every second of our life. This is for what we are working. That I tell people that you are wonder of the world. God has never created a being like you. Your fingerprint doesn't match anybody. So don't die like a photostat. Explore yourself. Take lots of risk. I generally tell people that daily you have to do one mistake. If you are not doing mistake, you're not living. But don't repeat the mistake. Try to avoid repeating it. But as you mentioned that you love to learn, the moment you stop learning, you start aging.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I am not doing anything. Monica Singhal is not doing anything. It is happening through this gadget.
I know that people are gravitating towards that and cultivating trust in themselves, and hopefully going from beyond just existing to truly living. Monica ji, thank you so much for this conversation. It was really, really wonderful, and I hope we can catch up with you again in the future.
Yeah, sure. Because why? Because I'm promised this earth. हिंदी में हमारा स्लोगन है, ना कोई मन से अपंग हो, ना कोई तन से अपंग हो. Nobody should be handicapped by physically or mentally. And this is pure science backed up by spirituality, and pure spirituality backed up by science. So we have to make it reach to our coming up generations. And thank you for taking out time and interacting and asking such beautiful questions. Your questions were actually amazing.
Hey, thanks again for joining us, Monica Ji. And I've shared some links to learn more about her work with Hariom Smiles. Shoutouts this week to Aaron Rai for making golf history, to Anil Kochar for his generous gift to graduates, to more cross-connectivity between the Netherlands and India, and to Tasveer for hosting a panel at the Cannes Film Festival this year. Shout out, as always, to you for listening, watching, sharing with your family and friends, and hitting that subscribe button. Please remember to be smart, be kind, and be safe. Till next time, I'm Abhay Dandekar.